One of the things that I've also seen, and I'd love to get your take on it because I know that this is one of your phrases, that bad faith changes everything. So how can you define bad faith and good faith? And how can you know how do you know if that's being used erroneously as a way of keeping someone out of the conversation who should actually be part of the conversation and should challenge you in some way?
In common parlance, I would say the sine qua non of good faith is whether or not a person is acting with reference to the goal that they state. What people do that is not in good faith is they provide a misleading objective. That's the easiest place to mislead. And then they pretend that their statements or their actions are actually an attempt to reach that objective when really they're an attempt to reach some unstated objective. So, can you detect this? Yes, you can detect it. Can you do so absolutely reliably? No, but if you have enough data on a particular individual's behavior, bad faith becomes evident over time because believing in X could not possibly result in these statements and behaviors, which are counterproductive with relevance with respect to the objective. So, bad faith emerges. Can you detect bad faith suddenly? Can somebody do something that calls your attention to the likelihood that they're acting in bad faith? Yep, you can definitely see it. Could you be mistaken? That can happen also, but that will also become clear over time.
So in this context, I guess the key distinctions we're making in sort of conversation is, are you oriented towards truth or are you oriented to winning the interaction and making the other person look bad?
I have no problem with somebody is not inherently acting in bad faith if they're trying to win and make the other person look bad, as long as they acknowledge that that's what they're up to, right? But if somebody says, look, I am much more interested in discovering the truth than winning, and then they behave like somebody who's more interested in winning than discovering the truth, that's bad faith. It's the mismatch between the objective and the apparent objective and the stated objective. So I don't really have any interest in participating with somebody who's just looking to score points. But the challenge that they are acting in bad faith really depends on the fact that they don't admit that that's what they're doing.
I guess the other question, and this may sound very naive, but is it always necessary to exclude those who you suspect might be bad faith or might sometimes be bad faith from conversations? Or on one level, why not have the conversation with them and call it out in real time and let the audience make up their minds?
That can be useful, but I would say there's a simple question of opportunity cost. I don't have time in the rest of my life for even all of the conversations I might have with people who are very careful about their own motivations and very earnestly motivated to do positive things in the world. There's just a limit on how many hours there are left. Should I spend some of those hours engaging with people who are being deceptive about their own beliefs? Maybe I...
Be able to expose them, for example.
Well, sure. I'd be willing to do that, but then I wouldn't exactly bar them from a conversation. If my purpose was to expose their bad faith, I would agree to participate in it. So on rare occasion, it may make sense to have those conversations. But in general, the ability of a person acting in bad faith to snarl a conversation so that it goes nowhere productive is much greater than the ability of somebody acting in good faith to establish what's really going on in somebody else's head or that they're a charlatan or whatever. So we should spend our time where it's productive. And in general, my experience tells me that interacting with people who are acting in clear good faith is far more productive.